If you have ever flown long haul in cattle class, you will know only too well the pain and frustration of not being able to lie down, legs practically wrapped around your neck about to go spare. Well, today Air New Zealand moved to patent a new economy class sleep pod that's been 3 years in the making. It's called Skynest, but will it fly? So far it's only been trialled on the ground with hundreds of sleep testers sworn to secrecy, and a decision on rolling it out won't be made until next year. In a moment, we talk to Kerry Reeves from Air New Zealand, but first, as a concept, picture this: a cluster of 6 bunks, 2 rows of 3 each, with bedding, snooze-friendly lighting and a privacy curtain. Location on the plane yet to be decided, but the vital info is the size. Skynest is about 200 centimetres long and 58 centimetres wide. So, in a totally unscientific experiment, the Checkpoint team decided to create an office version of the Skynest. Okay, let's put this Skynest concept to the test. Let's make one ourselves. Got this bit of, well, newsprint paper, and Matthew's going to help me. It's about 2 metres long, so let's measure it out lengthwise. So 2 metres there, round about. This is just a rough guide. And we're told it's about 58 centimetres wide, so Matt's going to roll the tape measure out again. Where are we at? 58 there. Let's just put a mark there, and let's measure down the end here, Matt, and then we'll just fold up that bit. Is that it? Okay, 58. Let's fold it over along those lines. Thanks, Matthew. And let's just check it. I'll flip it over. So that's about 2 metres long, our Skynest. Let's just tick it across the middle to make sure we've got it about right. Yep. 60 centimetres across, giving them a little bit of leeway. So let's check it out. Couch. Got to have a pillow. Let's make sure it's right at the end. So that's it. Oh, I'm practically wearing my pyjamas today. And I'm about 180 centimetres long. And my colleagues measured my shoulder width, 40 centimetres. So I fit in here okay. On my side, maybe. On my back, minus the mic pack is a little bit uncomfortable. It's okay, it's a bit of a tight squeeze. Simon, do you want to help me out? I want to see what you look like lying down here. Can you fit all right? So, Simon, cameraman extraordinaire. Let's make sure, yep. Yeah, that is a completely different prospect. And Simon's got a little bit of overhang with his feet as well. So for me, maybe it's a Skynest, but for Simon, ant nest, maybe? So Simon there's a bit taller than me, and as we showed there, if you want to look back on the video, his legs hang over a little bit on the Skynest. So it raises so many questions. Can you sit up without sconning your head? Well, here's Air New Zealand's Kerry Reeves.
No, we don't intend for people to sit up, otherwise they would stay in their seat. But it is something that you can lean and prop yourself up on a pillow to read a book or watch something on your device if you want to, rather than going to sleep.
So what's the intention here? Do you have a seat as well as the Skynest? How does it work?
Yes, clearly the Skynest is not a certified for occupancy for takeoff and landing, so it doesn't meet all the crash test requirements for that. So we have to have all our passengers seated in a certified seat for takeoff and landing. So the users of the Skynest will have a seat in the main cabin as well. And
for turbulence, do you have to get out of the nest?
No. For turbulence, then you are okay to stay in the Skynest as long as you have your seatbelt fastened.
So do you imagine, is it possible, well, do you expect one person to use the Skynest, or if you're travelling with a family, can you purchase a Skynest and then rotate people through it for a few hours of sleep?
We think that the economics for this to be a viable economy product, because if you want to sleep for the whole flight, then business class is really the only way to do that. To make it economic for an economy passenger, then you want to optimise the time that you have to do that. And so, scientific research would say that during our flight times, then if you can get, sort of 3 to 4 hours of good quality sleep, similar to what our crew do during their rest periods on long-haul flights, then that's sufficient to make you feel rested and relaxed when you get off. So timeframes such as that is probably more the economic situation as to where we would go with perhaps sharing the use of it or people buying sessions.
So it could be like one of those capsule hotels when you're in transit. You book it for 4 hours or you book it for 3 hours.
Yeah, similar to that, I think, is probably the most viable way for us to make this work.
So do you envisage that people will pay by the hour for the use of the Nest?
We would have to have some structure around that. We couldn't have and wouldn't want people to come and go as they pleased. Obviously, if they need to go to the bathroom, well, that's accepted. But we want to have it staged in particular shifts, if you want to call it that, where those sessions have a beginning and an end, and the passengers are introduced to it and then exit to it after that session is finished. And then another one would start after the Skynest has been refreshed.
So what kind of price point are you looking at here?
Well, that's the question that we don't really know the answer to yet. We've done a lot of customer testing with many economy passengers, or typical economy passengers, and we've got quite variable feedback from that. The average of the numbers are sort of in the ballpark to say it could be viable, but we're really keen to see the feedback from the media release and just get a judge of what people see as the value. And clearly, it will have a limited opportunity because there is only 6 is what we're proposing, initially. And so if that was 2 or 3 sessions, then you're still talking less than 10% of the economy passengers that would be able to take advantage of this as well.
So I just had a quick look on your website, and it's about $2,400 one way to LA premium economy, about $1,300 one way economy. Where would you put this on that spectrum? Is it around the same price as premium economy? Is it between premium economy and business, or where does it sit in that? If you can't give me an exact price.
Our research would say that if you had to pay as much as premium economy to have this, then we probably wouldn't get the uptake, and those people would go and sit in premium economy because they get the extra service and the space and so on. So that price point's probably too high. So somewhere between clearly is where we think it would land and be viable to get the volume of passengers to make this work.
Is there any service in the Nest?
No. It's purely if you're an economy passenger, then nothing else changes. We allow you to take water bottles and your devices and things like that in there, or book, but no food. Clearly, that's something that our passengers would say they wouldn't want people to take food in there. So during the period of the session, if that's what we end up doing, then it would just simply be the occupancy that you are purchasing.
So how have you trialled this? Have you actually put it on a plane and seen how it works on a long-haul flight?
No. That's a massive step forward because of the regulations and the certification requirements, and so it's very complex, significantly more complex than we first envisaged, and that's probably one of the main reasons why no one's done this before. But we think we've solved those complexities, but it is going to be challenging and quite costly for us to put it on the plane. So we want to be sure about doing the trials and making sure we understand where we're going to go with the outcome before we do that. Having said that, we are not afraid to be bold and take some risks in these ventures as well, as you well know.
So is the nest approximately the same size as the rest area the crew get when they go for a sleep? Are the beds around the same size?
Yes, the dimensions of them are pretty much the same as the crew rest area, and to that matter, the same as our business class seats when they're in bed mode as well. So that's physically the length and the width is what someone needs to be able to rest adequately and sleep.
Because I did a really rough test, Kerry, where I mapped out the size of this thing on the floor in our newsroom and had a bit of a lie down. And I'm reasonably tall, but not very broad. And I'm wondering, people are getting bigger, and a bloke would be quite a bit bigger than me. Who are you aiming for here?
Well, we're aiming for the economy passenger that is fearful of, on longer flights, and, we're talking about up to 17 hours to New York and so on. We're aiming for the passenger who's very fearful of that, but doesn't have the affordability to provide themselves with more space or luxury on board the aircraft. And so there's a large number of people in the population that fit into that bracket.
But will they fit into the nest, I suppose, is the question.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I mean, the bed length is around 80 inches. That is about the same as our business class seats, and our business class seats are one of the largest beds in the market.
Okay. So how long will people have to wait to see this on a flight?
Well, for us, we have reached a point where we've been through the desirability of what this might mean to passengers. We've worked through with the regulators and a limited amount of engineering to give us confidence that we could overcome all the feasibility stages, and that's where we're at now. And so we are now working heavily through the viability on how we would make this pay and give the value to the customers. So that's still going to take us some time before we're confident to make a decision. But we're certainly working towards wanting to do this. We think it's the right thing to do for the future of travel. We want to be at the forefront of that.
Would it have been easier just to give everyone an extra few centimetres on their normal seats?
You could say that, but many customers would say that's not what I want. That still doesn't help me. And so I still can't lie down, I can't stretch out, and I can't rest. And so that doesn't really solve the overall problem by giving someone a few more centimetres.
And that's Kerry Reeves from Air New Zealand.